At the start of episode 2, we see Ji-young, who is looking at people and shouting for help. But Ji-young closes her mouth and says, "What are you doing? They are from Cha-hong. They can catch us." Ji-young says to herself, "Is Cha-hong really here?" Then both of them were going while hiding. But just then, a soldier comes and says to them, "Where are you going?" In the next scene, both of them are put into jail. Ji-young shouts and says, "Let me out. You have kidnapped us." Ji-young says, "Nothing is going to happen now, you stay quiet." Other women say to Ji-young, "Do you think our being here makes any difference? Sit quietly, otherwise, we will shut your mouth." Ji-young sees the lock here and their handcuffs, and asks, "Is this Josian?" Ji-young says, "How many times have I told you, this is Josian?" But Ji-young was not going to believe. She shouts again and says, "We have to get out." All the soldiers come to them, and after many attempts, they shut her mouth. Now Ji-young sits and remembers that scene. How happy I was before. I had won the competition. But how did I get stuck here? I only met the boy who was saying he was a king. Was he really telling the truth? I even talked about the king in front of him, the one who was very cruel, kept taking people's land, kept hunting. But I was talking about him right in front of him. What will happen to me now? Just then, soldiers come to them and take them outside. Ji-young asks Ji-young, "Now what is going to happen here?" Ji-young says, "All the women will be divided into 2 groups. Those who are young will have to go to the king, and no one knows about the other group." Ji-young's number comes. The governor's son, Ian, asks, "How old are you?" She replied, 27 years old. She is put into the second group. Ji-young's number comes. She tries to show herself older and says, "I am 28 years old." She also gets put into Ji-young's group. Later Ian says, "The young group will have to go to the king. Soon, the Cha-hong inspector is going to come here. He will select you, and the other group will have to go to the kitchen to help in cooking." In the next scene, we see Leon and the soldiers who were still looking for both the girls. They find Ji-young's hair tie. Along with that, they see the footprints and were telling Leon that maybe they were taken to the governor's office. Long smiles and says, "Okay, let's go there." We see Ji-young and Ji-young who come into the kitchen. They were looking at many things. There were already cooks here. They ask them, "What are you making? For whom are you making?" But the cooks say, "We don't know, we were only given an order. We are just following it." Ji-young sees that there is very little food material here. Just then a man comes and tells them, 2 important people are about to come here. Cook food for them. Ji-young says, "Okay, we will cook, but who are they? What do they like? First tell us this, food is not cooked just like that." But the man says, "I don't know." Just then Ian comes and asks them, "What is the matter?" Ji-young tells everything, that there is nothing here to cook with, and they don't even know who the guest is, or what he likes. Ian says, "I will tell you who they are. But if you don't prepare a good dish, your life could be at risk. Are you ready for this?" She nods yes. Ian then takes her to the side and tells her who is coming here. It is a man named Sonj, who is the chief secretary and also the town's inspector. His father So-hong is also coming. Sonj and King Ali Han are childhood friends. They grew up together, playfully fighting with each other. We also see these scenes here. However, both are very cruel. With the help of Cha-hong, they keep punishing people. Sonj deliberately keeps finding faults in food, even puts hair into it. Are you ready for this? Ji-young says, "Yes, I am ready, but I have one condition. If they like my food, then you will release all of us from here." Ian also promises for this. Ji-young comes to the women. She tells them about the deal between her and Ian. If we cook good food, then we can be released from here. But they have very few ingredients. They don't know what to cook. Just then Ji-young sees a mask nearby. Ji-young says, "I had hidden it earlier." Ji-young says, "Your nose is very good. You can smell things quickly." Ian was watching them. He asks the man, "Do you think she will succeed?" Ian says, "I don't know, but she looked sincere about food. By the way, what happened to Mi-young?" The man says, "She ran away with her grandmother. You didn't even get to say goodbye." But Ian had said, "She is dead for me." Ji-young tries to cut the meat. But it is very hard. She doesn't know what to do. She thinks a lot and later says, I should use the sous vide method, in which food can be cooked at low temperature and inside vacuum. In the next scene, we see Mogju, who is talking to her maid and asks, what happened in the governor's office. Bosun says, Song and his father have already gone there. Mogju says, when the governor's granddaughter Myong will be presented for Chahong, then watching the governor's face will be very fun. Then we see Sonj and his father, who had arrived here. Ahead was Ian, who welcomed them and brought them inside. Ji-young is still working on her method. However, everything she is thinking about, she is doing by remembering a book. This book was given to her long ago by her father. Ji-young cuts the meat into small pieces. She ties it with a string. She hangs it inside water. However, the water is hot. So to measure the water, she uses her hand. She asks to add more cold water, and in this way, she finds out the correct temperature because she had seen it in the book. We see Sonj, who is inside and selecting the girls. Just then, they are informed that the food is ready. Later, everyone comes out to eat. The food is presented before them. But Sonj looks at the food and says, what is this? These are just simple pieces of meat. You are insulting us here. Ian says, please forgive us for this. We have new cooks here, but they are completely new. They don't know anything. But Sonj says, this won't work. Bring them before us. They have insulted us. They should be punished. Ian tells his men to bring them. At the same time, we also see Ji-young. Everyone here was happy, they thought they could now go home. But the soldiers come to them, catch them, and bring them before the guests. Ji-young doesn't understand what has happened. But then she looks at the food and says to herself, they haven't even tasted the food yet. Ji-young says to Ian, what is this? You asked us to cook food, we did that. But they haven't even tasted it. First, they should taste the food. If it is wrong, then punish us. Sonj looks at Ji-young and says, you are bold. We will taste this food. But if it is not right, then your life could be at risk. Are you ready for this? Ji-young nods yes. Sonj says to the governor, you couldn't do anything for us. But I have prepared something that will make this show even more entertaining. Just then, the soldiers bring Myong. Ian sees his daughter and hugs her. The governor becomes very angry. He wants to hit her but cannot, because they had shown that they were from Chahong, and he could not do anything. Sonj says, if what this maid is saying is true, and the food is really good, then your daughter can stay here. But if not, then we will take your daughter to our palace. Now everything depends on this food. Ian says, all right, you should taste the food. Later, both of them start eating the food, and it turns out to be very delicious. They even want to eat more, but they don't. Sonj lies and says, this food is not good. Ji-young says to herself, I know you are lying. The governor tastes the food, and then he shouts at them, saying, this food is excellent. I have never eaten such food in my life. You want to take my daughter to the palace, that is why you are lying. Then he draws his sword, comes forward to kill them. But Ian steps in between and says not to do such injustice. Ian tells his soldiers, these are just maids or criminals. Torture them. Later, it was going to happen like this. They catch Ji-young, she was about to be tortured. She shouts too and says, he is lying. The food is really good. But no one believes her words. Just as they were about to kill her, a voice comes from behind. It was Han's voice, who says not to do such injustice. He comes near Ji-young and says, if this food is really good, then I will try it. Ji-young says to herself, I have heard this voice somewhere before. Later, she sees him and realizes that he is the same boy, and he is truly the king. Ji-young remembers her father and says, now what should I do? In the next scene, everyone is inside. The food is served in front of him. But Leon first tells Ji-young, you taste it. Ji-young does it, then comes forward. She tastes the food. Now Lon eats the food, and he gets goosebumps. The meat is very tender. He says to himself, how can this be possible? I have never eaten such food. He finishes all the food and later asks her, what did you add to it, and how did you cook it? She tells him everything. Lon remembers the scene of Ji-young, when she had said, I am a chef. Later, he asks her, you really said the truth, that you are a chef. How old are you? She replied, 27 years old. Lon says, you are already 27 years old, but you still haven't married? You should have married here by now. But Lan says, you are misunderstanding. Ji-young says, I am not like that. I am from somewhere else. Lan asks, from where? Ji-young says to herself, I know he will not believe me, but I have to tell him. She goes closer and says, I am from 500 years ahead in the future. Lan says, maybe your mind is not right. You have gone mad. Today I will not kill you. Ji thought that since he liked her food, maybe he would set her free. But that does not happen. He says, this maid will come with us to the palace tomorrow. And we will also take Mihong with us. Ji-young says to herself, this is wrong. This should not have happened. She wants to talk to him, but Lan sends everyone out. However, the governor stays there. He asks Leon, what are you doing here? The governor says, you are crazy about women. You know nothing. You cannot help the people here. You cannot handle state affairs. You cannot solve them. Lan gets angry. He takes out his sword and says, what did you say? When it was about your granddaughter, you could see state affairs. But when my mother was being killed, you did not say anything about it. This means the governor had a hand in killing his mother. Lan orders his soldiers to put the governor in prison. In the next scene, we see Ji-young and Ji-young, who are in jail. Ji-young explains what happened inside. She says, tomorrow, we might have to go to the palace. But before going to the palace, I have to go back. Ji-young asks, where are you going? She replies, I have to go back to where I came from. Ji-young asks, where did you come from? Ji-young says, you will not believe me. But Ji-young says, I will believe you. Tell me. Then Ji-young tells her, I came from the future. She explains everything, how she was on the plane, what happened, and how she reached here. But she says, it all started with that book. We have to find that book, which is on the mountain. In the next scene, we see Lion outside, looking at the sky. Just then, Sonji comes to him. He speaks formally and says, it is very cold, you should go inside. But Lan says, here, no one is watching us. Don't talk formally. Then he attacks him with his fan. Both of them fight for a long time, just like they used to in childhood. Later, Li Hong sits down and talks. He says, tomorrow we will go to the palace and take Ji-young and Ji-young with us. All the other women and Ming, we will set free. Do you know why we started Cha Hong? I wanted to take revenge for my mother. But now this has to stop. Songji says, we cannot stop it suddenly. If we do that, Queen Dowager Inju might doubt you, thinking that you did all this only for revenge. Ayan comes to Ji-young. He frees both of them and says, I kept my promise. Now you can go. In the next scene, it is told that both the girls escaped like this. Ji-young, while passing through the forest, asks Ji-young, do you live alone? Ji-young says, my father was trapped for wrong deeds. I don't know where they took him. That is why my mother and I came to Hanyang to search for him. But the soldiers attacked us, and my mother died. Ji-young says, sorry, I should not have asked that. But Gamong says, it's okay. Ji-young asks, when I go back to the future, will you come with me? Gamong asks, can I do that? Ji-young nods and says, yes. What is your dream? Whatever you want to become, you can become there. Gam says, I want to become the head lady of the royal kitchen. Ji-young says, all right, I will do that for you. Later, they come near the hill. They are looking for the bag, but they don't see it anywhere. Ji-young suddenly sees someone nearby and gets shocked. Then Ji-young also sees, and it is Li Han. Seeing him, Ji-young almost falls, but Leon catches her in his arms. Soon, soldiers also arrive there. He is about to touch Ji-young. Ji-young feels that he is going to kill her. She says, don't do this. But then she sees that something was stuck on her, and he removes it. Lan asks, what are you doing here? She replies, my bag, which you threw down with the help of the arrow, I came to take it. It is very important for me. My life depends on it. Lan looks at the bag and orders his soldiers, bring the bag. Soon they bring it. Lan takes the bag, shows it to her, and says, is this the same bag? She smiles and says, yes, give it to me. But Lan does not do so. Instead, he throws the bag down and says, now you have no reason to run away. She shouts, you bastard. Why did you do that? Lon says, see, again you are being rude. Ji-young says, I am sorry for that. But this bag is very important. I cannot live without it. Whatever you say, I will do it. Just bring my bag back. Lon looks at her, smiles, and says something, as if amused. In the next scene, we see both of them captured and being taken to the palace. Gam says, what will happen to us? Who will protect us? Jean says, nothing will happen. Stay with me. I will protect you, and you will protect me. In this way, we will help each other and stay strong. Song Jae asks Leon, why are you bringing her to the palace? Leon says, I will not let her die peacefully. Then he looks at Ji-young. Ji-young makes a strange face and says to herself, if I had a gun, I would shoot you with one shot. Lon also makes the same kind of face. In the next scene, we see Mokju playing her instruments. In front of her, the girls are dancing. Mokju remembers a scene with Jason in the past. Jason is in her arms. Mokju asks him, did you find out what happened with Lon? Who did all that to him? Jason says, it must have been someone among us. I will find out. By the way, I heard that Leon is bringing the governor's daughter Miwang here. She is very pretty. Maybe he liked her. You must do your work properly. You must hold Lon in your arms so that he forgets about his mother. At the right time, we will kill him. In the present, Mokju orders the box to be brought down and asks who Lon is bringing with him. She is told, it is Miwang, and she is very pretty. But they don't know that it is actually Ji-young. Why was Lon bringing her to the palace? The children see Ji-young. They start throwing stones at her. Both girls shout at them and chase them away. But then the soldiers come after them. Lan comes to Ji-young and says, the children will be taught a lesson. He says, how did they dare to damage my thing without my permission? Ji-young says, am I your thing? Long also speaks here and says, without my permission, no one can say anything to you. They cannot even touch you. Now they bring her inside the palace. Ahead, Mokju is waiting for Lon. Leon comes to her. Mokju says, where were you? I missed you. But all this is fake. Lon says, I want to show you something. Then he takes her to Ji-young. Mokju says to herself, who is this girl? She is very pretty. Mokju says to Lon, since the time I have been here, this is the first time you have brought a girl in front of me. But Lon says, she is not a girl. She is a ghost. Mokju says, all right, I will prepare a room for her. We will give her new clothes. But Lon says, no need. We are not going to do all that with her. Mokju asks, then what are you going to do with her? Leon steps forward to touch her. Ji-young says to herself, don't do this. She is watching us. But he touches her, and then he says, I will do something in such a way that you will cling to me and beg for death. Ji-young says to herself, is he going to torture me, or will he do something else? Later, the episode ends. Now we will meet again in episode 3, which is going to come on Sunday. Till then, bye.